All right, well, let's read another book. Today we're going to be reading The Main Event, The Pride. This is the first book in a series called The Pride. It was published by Amazon.com, so self-published, and it costs $2.99, which thumbs up. I feel like once we start getting into like more cheaper books and stuff, that actually might affect the rating because I feel like you're getting more book for value and stuff. I haven't felt like any of the other books really the cost affected it, but I feel like this might. It's published October 1st, 2007, so this is a 17-year-old book. Spice 4 out of 5. I'm very excited about this. This is going to be the first 4 out of 5 we have. The last 3 books were all 3 out of 5, and I believe the next 4 books after this are also 4 out of 5, and then we run into our first 5 out of 5. I definitely want to see more spice in my romance novels. One of the reasons I read romance and stuff is I can read smut and everything. Like most traditionally published books and what I read have been read in most of my life and stuff doesn't have any smut. So I'm really excited to see what this blend is that we can get going. The romance.io page count is 320, and my Kindle came out 392. There actually is a reason for this. I'm pretty sure I was looking through, and all the there's a line spacing between all the paragraphs, which just bumps the page count up and not the word count up. I like this better actually because it makes it a little bit easier to read. Most times, like everyone just like gets rid of those blank spaces and stuff, but I like the separators. It makes my eyes can move around much easier. There was 105 ratings on Kindle when I picked this up, and the average rating was 3.96, which is a little bit higher than the last 3 I had. And here's the novel cover. We have a naked man, or half naked, I guess. Looks like we're wearing jeans and a belt, so this is probably going to be more contemporary than like a Fantasyland that we've had in the last 3 books. And like, so the main event, we're thinking about lions. I'm guessing. I can't think of any other animal that has a mane. I hope. I know I slept through like biology class, but I'm pretty sure I got that one. So the main event by Shelley Laurenston, and we got a little tag that says "The Beast in Every Man." I'm hoping that we get a little more of like the primal biting kink. Definitely wanted to explore that more after the first novel I read. But like, I feel like this is false advertising. There's not a speck of hair on this guy's body. Like I feel like you should have some hair, man. Like if you're gonna be like some kind of lion shifter thing, like a shaved face, really? Like maybe this novel's a little bit bare. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I don't really find the male body that attractive at all. So, especially with no hair. Actually, if I'm gonna like any body, it's probably gonna be no hair. This doesn't appeal to me. Anyways, that's all I have really to say about this. I got my reading snuggie on. I got the incense going on this time instead of the candles. We're gonna do some lavender, maybe some cinnamon. I don't know. I'm feeling cinnamon now. Okay, I'll go read the book, and then I'll tell you how I like the book. All right, so read the book. So let's get this out of the way. I was bored during the book. Not a good thing. I'm quite surprised this was rated higher than a few of the other books I've already read. I don't know why. Makes me a little sus of the rating system. So did I like the book? It had moments. For the most part, it felt I was definitely bored at a few parts that I wanted to skip through, and it felt a little just cookie cutter. I don't want to read it again. And it's part of a 9-book series. I don't recommend it, and I'm probably going to be not reading the rest of them. And this is surprising to me because it is about shifters and primal, like lions, and do have a primal kink. I was really expecting to like this book. The thing is that this is really just 2 novelists in a novel, with all the bad pacing that novelists can have. I was upset at first about this, but after reading the blurb, it actually just tells you it's 2 stories. So I was like, well, I mean, that's my fault. So it's not going to hurt your rating. I've read hundreds, thousands of novels, and I don't want to read them anymore. So it doesn't hurt the writing, but the writing definitely does. Both of these novel felt like a mixture or baby between Skinamax 90s mystery thrillers that I used to watch when I was a teenager and Hallmark Christmas movies with all the bad writing and, the happy, good feelings it gives you and all of the erotica from Skinamax. Ultimately, I think this was kind of bordering on erotica. And it can be good, can be bad. I definitely don't think it was 4 out of 5. This felt kind of closer to 5 out of 5. But what do I know? I haven't read a 5 out of 5 spice novel, so I have 2 in my reviews. We'll get to them soon. Definitely more than 3 out of 5. And I did like the smut. The smut was very well written. I, had a fluttering in my heart rate and had to take care of some bodily urges. My partner was very happy about that. The world building was actually really good, and that's ultimately what's saving this from being less than a 3-star review. The plot was horrible. I'm just gonna say it is like I've seen Skinamax movies that have way better plots, and not only that, but like the romance was kind of the plot, but the mystery thriller and everything was like completely detracting from the romance. Most times I just like get back to the sex, please. So the first novella I would probably rate about 2 stars. I just did not like it. I don't really have anything good things to say about it. The second novel was better. I would give it a 3.5 stars. It had a little bit of boring parts I kind of want to skip through, but it wasn't bad. It was just kind of cookie cutter. And then the world building was really good. So I did like that. With the 2 novels together, I'd probably give it a 3-star experience. Like when I'm bored, you ain't getting a 4 stars, period. And it's funny that the world building is actually, in my opinion, the best part of this novel because it's set in a contemporary time period. It's modern times with this fantasy shifter. So like how can you have world building that's modern times? It's interesting. But that's a spoiler, so I'll get into it later. But I did like the world building. I didn't like any of the characters, not any of them. And there's a lot in this book, like a lot. All of the women felt like they were the same, and all the men felt like they were the same. Their writing prose wasn't different. They had like these, like I guess templates that the writer came from, and it just I could like if you gave me any other dialogue, I couldn't tell you which character it was, and it's not good. And every single one of them is like misogynistic, and even the women. It's just kind of sad. I'm fine with characters having toxic traits like misogyny, but they were rewarded for the misogyny and their toxicity. Like there was no character arc growth where they realized it was a bad thing. It's not something I enjoy. Maybe you do, but this review is about my opinion. This was published in 2007, so I do give it a small pass. I do remember when I was in the Marines during 2007, people had this type of mindset from this book. I'm pretty sure if anyone acted like this in 2025, they would have their lives ruined and careers canceled and everything. It just feels like from a different time, not in a good way. There is demand for this type of romance. I have seen recommendation requests for this type of misogynistic, toxic relationships. So, I mean, I could recommend this romance to that niche group. It's definitely not my jam, even with the primal biting kink. I would read the content tags. They are very especially the dubious consent one. Anyways, that's all I had to say without spoilers. So from here on out, there's spoilers. So be prepared. All right. So as I said, I was bored. And not like the entire time. It's just I wanted to skip scenes. It just felt like we were hashing the same things over and over again. The dialogue was just so bad. Not all of it. I'm not hitting on all. It was just constantly like someone would say something and then the other character would just repeat it back to them like a question. And this happened a lot, and it was very frustrating to read. I get that we're having one banter and stuff, but seriously, just repeating what they said as a question constantly, like I don't like it. It upset me. And like the characters just the writing prose for them did not differentiate between them. Like you had two types of males in the entire book. You had the main male characters, are just absolutely unconditionally in love with the FMC, and then you have this overbearing brother character that's protecting the FMC. That's it. That was literally the two types of men in this novel. The women are slightly varied, and the two female characters have different writing process, but both of the novels was like literally the same character going through the same thing. So the entire romance of this is that the main male character is unconditionally in love with the FMC. And the plot of the book is for the FMC to get over whatever is holding her back from allowing this relationship to happen. And this is what I'm talking about with this book being misogynistic, in my opinion. The force or opposition to the main character's goals and objectives, which is the definition of an antagonist, is the woman's feelings and judgments of the situation she's in. The main male characters, both of them have no character arc or growth. They don't change. They literally force themselves into the woman's lives, very physically at times, and they trap the woman until she gives into what the man wants, which, surprise, turns out to be what the woman wanted the whole time. She just didn't know it. Both times, this is the female main character being told by literally every other male and female and every family member in the book that the MMC loves her and just good for her. We are quite literally stripping the FMC of her agency. Agency hasn't worked out for her. She's in her mid-30s and they've run wild. Now they don't have a man. Now they need a man to come in their lives and fix all their problems and get their happy ending. Maybe you don't think this is misogyny, but I do. It's aggression from the world that we live in. And if it wasn't for having the female POV that she's sort of into what the MFC is doing, I would have thought this was a serial killer novel and she's about to get tortured and murdered. This is the kind of stuff I'm trying to get away from when I read my male power fantasy novels, because this is rampant in them. The woman is just there to exist and make the male feel powerful and get what he wants. Like, she's an object. They don't have their own feelings, and their feelings are the antagonist of what the man wants. And this is not what I want to read romance novels for. Maybe you do. I don't know. I feel like you should go pick up a male power fantasy book if you want this. This is what you can get. Both men in this book see the women as a reference to how they make the man feel. How the woman is the object of desire, and the woman's damned feelings are getting in the way of the MMC getting the sex and relationship he wants. Whatever the hell the woman feels to block them from getting the woman they want in their lives to make them feel is to be overcome. It's an obstacle. It's a problem to be solved and gotten rid of, not to be understood or ask her questions of how this all happened. Like, I would like to devolve into why the woman has commitment issues, why she's so abhorrent to having a relationship in her lives. We get hints at best. Like, can we go into what this traumatic event that caused you to be like this is? You know, I want to see the female perspective. And from the female's perspective and the man's perspective in this book, all we see is it's a bad thing. These feelings are there and they have to overcome them so they can get their happy ending. It's like they don't even care. It's now in the past. Like, these ex relationships that have caused this woman to be like this are in the past. They don't need to talk about them anymore. We just need to move on. Like, I want to know. I want to know why the woman is how she is. I mean, it just feels like the man is just like literally dictating how the woman is supposed to be, and he won't give up until she does, and she does, and he gets what he wants. They're rewarded for these toxic traits of just imposing their feelings onto the woman, and it's like celebrated in the book, and it's just I don't like it. The most blatant example I would give to you is that towards the end of the second novel, the man takes the woman physically, like over his shoulder, onto a plane. They go to her family's home where she grew up and stuff to see her mom and dad so he can meet them. And she's just fighting him physically, like doesn't want to do this. Verbally tells him she does not want to do this. And then they get into the home and she's like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe this is what I wanted the whole time. And you were just, you knew better. Couldn't figure that out on my own. And it's written it's like, it feels endearing in the book, but not to me. Like, I'm like, why? What is happening? And maybe this is what you want in your life. Maybe you're in a place where you want a rich, sexy, and hung man to come in your life, strip away all your problems and agency, and tell you what you need and sweep you off your feet to a new smut adventure. I mean, I kind of get that. I don't want that, but I do have empathy and can, feel that, and this is why it's not getting a 1-star review. I understand that my feelings are not your feelings, and that I can look at something objectively and have empathy for you. But for me, and this is a review about my opinions, I need character growth. That's just me. All right, so off my soapbox. Let's talk about what's actually good in this novel. All right, let's talk about the actually interesting world building, in my opinion. This book is set in modern times in New York, and it's around Christmas. It's like a Christmas Hallmark movie where they just fuck each other the whole time. It's a shifter book. There are lions, there are wolves and hyenas. There's some other ones like jaguars and cheetahs, but they're kind of like glazed over. And they're all interacting with each other in a cool way. There's this culture clash between wolves and lions. But what really interests me is that these lions are all in these prides, and which all kind of feel like rich mafia families, and they're all quite literally run by women. Women run this society and choose which male they'll allow into their pride to have this poly harem relationship with. And this is contrasted with wolves, who are like one big family and pack, and they roll out together and they defend each other, and they always have each other's backs, like no matter where you go. It's just really cool. And it's hidden under the skin of this modern society where they are all in New York right now. It's just so funny that you have this man that shows up. He's like, hey, would you like this harem of these beautifully rich women, and you can have sex with them anytime? They'll just pamper you and take care of you. He's like, no, I just want one girl. Yeah, I can't relate to that. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be cute, like, oh, he's turning down a harem for this one woman, but like, I just think he's an idiot. Why can't you have both? But what's interesting is that there's not a single submissive person in this book. Every single character is super aggressive and will like pounce on you if you have any type of insult on them. The men and the women. And it's beautiful because like at the end of both of these like Christmas dinners into the settings and stuff, you have all these women that are so aggressive that we've built up and built up their characters and stuff. And they're just going at it with these zingers. And I'm just like, this is so fucking wonderful. I want to need more of this. I just really love this world. And the best parts that I really loved about this novel were the consequences of this world building with all these culture clashes and stuff. I love that. And yeah, there's stereotypes of like snooty women ruining Christmas or whatever, but I don't think that this was done in any kind of stereotypical way. It was actually really interesting. It quite literally saved the book from less than a 3-star review. Like, if we didn't have all this really cool world building stuff, I probably would have given it 2 stars. You have just this really cool matriarchal society and culture, and it's just, the clashing is just so much fun. I just can't really believe that there's misogyny in a book of a literal matriarchy. Like, I didn't know that was possible. And possibly the rest of the 9-book series goes into more of this world building, because it kind of did feel like both the novels were like there to build this world and stuff. But I didn't really see anything worth continuing. I'm not going to be continuing the series. I just wanted to say that it enthralled me. All right, let's talk about the smut. Get our smut dance. Thank you, author, for the smut. It was actually very good. I once we get past the dubious consent, it was a huge turn on. As I said, it definitely felt like it was devolving into erotica. Like, we just spent chapters of just them going at it. I'm like, at a few points, I'm just like, how are you two still walking? There's absolutely no way the author can convince me that their thighs are still working at this point. I remember a Redditor saying that 5 out of 5 spice means the plot serves the smut. Because this was starting to feel much more of like the smut was the the plot, not the romance. We literally have one of the female main characters at the end saying that, looking at her man and being like, wow, I can't believe that I get to have all this sex now. I feel like there's more important things also in your life, not just the sex. Like, she's just really happy that she's going to get great sex now. I can relate to that, but like, there's more, to this that you could possibly be enjoying. So I can reasonably say that it's definitely not true that the plot serves the smut in this thing. So it's not 5 out of 5 because the plot detracts from the smut. I'll get into that later now. We're talking about smut. By those definitions, it's not 5 out of 5. But the first novel, there were scenes that were quite endearing between the FMC and the FMC. They'd known each other since they were 14 years old, and like all these family members are telling them like they're double trouble, which I really wanted to know more about. Like, can we go into how they were acting in the middle school? A little bit. They like hint at it and stuff, but like, that sounds cool. And we get to this portion where as they fall into the old habits of reading each other and getting into more trouble while having sex, they both tie each other up in handcuffs and they have this wonderful banter during this time. And it's not like one's a submissive and one's a top. They switch and like they both tie each other up and enjoy it. And it felt very normalizing, like equalizing. Like they were on equal footings in this power dynamic relationship because he's very much a lion and she's a human. So like you would feel like he's much more primal, but he's letting her tie him up. And they have this banter with someone on the phone. And it's really good. I really enjoyed that part. And it was just unfortunately just a chapter of it. I wish like this whole dynamic could have been more. The second novel is spiced up things of role play. I would say that I got less bored with the second one because it didn't feel like it was copy pasting. The first one, they just have normal vanilla sex the whole time. It's just constant, which I think it's hot that like two people can just continue going at it, just constantly turn on each other for days on end. Like that isn't ideal. But the second novel, we got into this role play, and I've never really done role play or understood why from the female perspective the role play just been much more primal. And so seeing it from her perspective was really eye-opening, understanding what was so desirable about this. And it made me want to do it. Like, it sounds cool. And there's this scene at the end of the first novel though where they're having Christmas with both their families and they're just fighting in the house. And the FMC is in the main character's lap outside on the porch. And her dad's like walking, his 7-year-old dad is walking the dog out in front of him. And they're just talking about, how they're just glathering each other's arms in Christmas. And he's fingering her through her jeans. We end the novel with her creaming her pants. Merry Christmas. I'm just imagining her like walking around with like stains all over her jeans and like happy. I'm just like, this is erotica. That's how we're ending this right here. Just orgasm for Christmas. All right, let's talk about the plot. So the plot in the first novel very much distracted from the romance in a very bad way. You have this lion guy who just got out of the Navy and is going home to see his family. And he finds out that one of the pride males of his sister's pride has been murdered. His old middle school crush is a cop now, and she's having a conversation with the sister. And that's how they meet. And then they exchange numbers, and then she gets immediately thrown off the case, and not her partner, who's named Bukowski. I'm sorry, what? How did a person named Dez get thrown off the case, and you have this guy named Bukowski who's still on the case? He's right there. Like, all I want to do every time I read the name Bukowski is remove his gun and badge and tell him he's a loose cannon. So anyways, she's off the case. Bukowski still is somehow. And she has 5 days off before Christmas to think about what she's done. Yeah. She literally went into the sister's office and like, did you kill him? Did you kill the person that we're investigating? Like, that sounds like great cop behavior to me. That's how you solve cases. So we're off for 5 days. We had the lion girl, now have lots of free time on their hand. What does she want to do? We get to ride the kitty. And yeah, they spend the rest of the story just going at it. But here's the issue. We still have this murder plot to solve. They quite literally stopped their sex and romancing to go to a bar, and then they get captured. They didn't even have the agency to be able to solve the case for themselves. They just accidentally get captured. Where, while being tortured and whatever the villain is doing, just admits to killing the guy. Why? I have no clue. We really don't go into what the hell is going on here. Like, why was the FMC captured? We don't even really understand why they wanted to capture her. And then how did the FMC fall into a trap, suddenly solve everything? Why did the villain admit to everything? I get that you have this plot to wrap up, but I feel like there's better ways to go about it. She just straight up admits to it and then tells them who was the person that actually killed him. And then the hyenas kill them and justice is served. Merry Christmas. I'm like, get the fuck back in the bedroom and start having sex again. What are you doing with this solving murder bullshit? You ain't Nancy Drew. There's no explanation as to ultimately why the villain's even doing all this besides hints of love. Like they're murdering the pride male so that the villain's boyfriend can go be the pride male, but she's possessive and jealousy. You're giving a harem to him? Why? We don't know. They don't explain. It makes no sense. And it hurts my narrative soul to the core. And then we get to see the second novella with basically the exact same setup for the relationship of the MMC forcing himself on this FMC until she feels the same way. And there's no murder thriller subplot. Instead, he's here for his brother for reasons we don't really go into besides, he's a bum? And then they make up at the end. Why? Because he's like, oh, yeah, I was a cop the whole time. They're like, oh, cool. Sure, whatever. At least they made up in the apartment so we didn't distract from the sex. If you're going to have a plot, it needs to help the romance, not whatever this is. And because there's not really any plot serving it, this was why it feels like erotica. I think it just would have been a better experience if we just had sex the entire time. Like, these characters shouldn't have left their apartments. But it was the cheapest book on my list, so it does help with my coping. All right, let's talk about the writing. Now, I'm not usually someone that like straight up makes fun of a sentence. You can't write these sentences though and not expect me to make a comment on this. I feel like all the enjoyment I got, most of it was like dissecting these sentences. So let's go with the first one. Wow, these two characters sure get along like a house on fire. What? House on fire? Because it produces carbon monoxide? Do they get along like a house and fire? I don't feel like those two things are desirable. Is it supposed to be a toxic relationship? Like the context was like they were like brothers. Yeah, I sat to like stare at my book and just like, what is this? I don't get it. This analogy is like just blew my mind. I was just laughing. I'm like, what is this? And we get to my favorite one. Yeah, I really hope she likes cooking and sex and being worn like a hat. What? Like, what? I'm just... I've got no words. Yeah, let me put this in Google real quick and find out what the context of someone would want to be worn like a hat. Oh, Google is suggesting that I should turn my safe search filter on. Thank you, Google. And now I've lost my Googling privileges for 3 days. The Google AI is not very happy with me right now. Like, how do you remove both the images and videos tabs? I feel like that would give me better context of how this sentence is supposed to be read. Yeah, like, I didn't know that women wanted to be worn like a hat. This changes everything. I'm so confused. I stopped. They just ripped me right out of the immersion. I'm just like, I have to know what this is about. I have to figure this out. I still have no idea. Like, is he like a lion's skin? Like how they have like their head as like a like a hat. I don't know. I can't even like say this was like a product of like AI writing because it was written in 2007. Yeah, so you like intentionally wrote that. I said the mysteries of women, man. Then you had this part where he's like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm trying to talk to her and get her to go on a date. And her best friend's like, wait until the morning and then call her and ask her for a date. Wink, wink. And I'm like, wait, what? What? How did you know that? Like one of the goals I had here in romance novels is trying to find out how women think. You're such a tease. Tell me why that works. How did you know to call her at 6 a.m. and that would get a date? Like, I need notes. I feel like if I called someone at 6 a.m. to ask for a date, it wouldn't go well. Like, I need context. And there's none given. I'm a sad panda. Like, please help me. Help me understand. Help me learn how to better romance my partner. Last time I woke her up at 6 a.m., she punched me. So let's not do that. I'm just getting the feeling that I should not be taking any takeaways about how to romance a woman from this novel at all. All right, final thoughts. I didn't like the book. I was bored. It had some redeeming qualities that kept it from being lower than a 3-star review. I do understand that there are people that are looking for romances like this. It's nothing I want to or can recommend to other people. I think it was bordering more on erotica. I think it might have served better if it was just blatant erotica. It did have its moments though. There were some cute moments. It was $2.99, so like the cheapest book on my review list. So I mean, that's a good thing. I did like the world building. I very much enjoyed seeing these prides and lions interact. That was absolutely wonderful. I liked that there was not a submissive character in the novel. Like, that was wonderful to read. I enjoyed going through some of these lines and analogies. Like, that was very entertaining to me. So, author, thank you for writing the book. I appreciate it. And I hope that maybe you will like the book or not. And I hope you enjoy the coffee money I gave you and hope you write another book. And I will see y'all in the next one.